everybody, Rose Matter here. Welcome to part 23 of my House in Fata Morgana Let's Play. In the last episode, we learned about Yukimasa's story, we relearned about it. There was some new information, but a lot of the stuff, like he said, was not things that painted him in a good light. He's still not a super sympathetic person, and he doesn't necessarily have to be. Learning about his fateful encounter with Morgana years before, he ended up working with the Lord to capture her, and learning actually that he's not in love with Pauline. That was kind of like the big thing, was basically he just uses women as tethers to kind of like try and keep the beast within. The biggest shocking information came right at the end. It implies that the slave boy that helped out Morgana in the brothel could actually be Jacapo, aka the Lord, which is insane. And that just changes everything. Because I was like, how in the world is the Lord going to be like a sympathetic person or someone that Morgana wouldn't just hate? So I guess we'll find out. We're about to meet up with the Lord, and yeah, I guess we'll hopefully get him on our side before it's too late. So let's go ahead, let's get back into it, and let's see if what was implied in the last episode is actually true. You'd better have a damn good reason for this. Oh, this is even more intimidating. Jeez. I came because you said you had something important to discuss. Now, care to tell me who the hell this white-haired man is and what he's doing here? You neglected to mention we'd be having company. I'm the one who asked him to arrange this meeting with you. And who the hell would you be? He's an angel. Or a prophet. What? Did you both finally snap under the pressure? I'll leave it for you to decide what you think I am. I will say, though, that I know everything. I know you've got a girl imprisoned in the observation tower, and I know you're taking her blood and calling it medicine, passing it out at the church. Which one of you squealed? No one told him anything. He just knew. He knows everything, including my deepest desires and what happens in my next life. He's probably peering into your soul this very moment. You've completely lost it, I see. Well, how you got your information doesn't matter. All I need to know is this. What are you hoping to gain from it? Wealth? My downfall? What? Morgana's freedom. I want you to give me your key, and then I want you to tell me your story. I've come here from the future, from the world after Morgana's death. Her soul courses with hatred for the three of you, and she's placed a curse of eternal suffering on your souls. Has everyone at this damn table gone mad? Did you seriously think I'd believe that nonsense? Don't interrupt me. Michelle's like, I don't have time, I don't care. He's just like, he's being impudent, I know. Like, he's just basically telling the Lord to shut up, but he's just like, this is my last chance. My objective is not so much to rescue Morgana's physical body from the tower, but to save her soul from an eternity of loathing. I can't achieve that on my own, however. Because I'm not from this time, I have had no direct interaction with her or anyone else here until just recently. In order to make her have a change of heart, I need to gather the truth from the people who are from this time. And I suspect that you hold the last piece of the puzzle, the biggest piece. That you have a far deeper connection with Morgana than anyone else here. So he probably is. He is the slave boy, but it's a matter of like, how did he become a lord? How did he get here? No, I'm all but certain of it now. Your perspective is crucial to accomplishing my goal. Tell me your whole story, please. How you ended up capturing and imprisoning Morgana, what you thought and felt along the way. Your truth will get through to her. I know it. That will be the turning point in all of this. Her curse will be no more, and you'll be returned to the paths you were meant to walk. Everyone will have their salvation. Someone throw this madman out. I won't do it. Neither will I. Damn worthless curs. I'll call the guards then. Who do you think I am exactly? I'm the lord of this land. Under ordinary circumstances, I'd never so much as deign to speak with you, lowly peasant. Now get out of my sight, or I'll take it as an act of aggression, and you'll find yourself without a head. In this room, right now, you are not a lord. You're alone, man. The swordsman will probably like, I'll cut you down before the guards can get to you. if you don't listen to him. Until you hand over your key, we're not letting you leave. Damn, Mel, look at you, growing up. And you'll find there aren't any guards for you to call. You're all alone on this estate. Your preoccupation with staying out of sight played right into our hands. Accept your defeat, Lord. We've already agreed to set the witch free. Cowardly worms. Ironic, coming from you. I didn't think you'd turn coat quite so eagerly. The nun and your kid sister are in on it too, I take it. We were only working for you. We never felt any sort of allegiance to you. Loyalty founded on what one has to gain or lose is far more resilient than uncertain, fluctuating feelings. But it would appear this white-haired man shattered that foundation. How long have you been colluding with them, cur? I arrived in this era 2 days ago. What? 2 days? In just 2 days you got the worms dancing for you. They're not dancing for me. I merely spoke with them, and they listened. You're a disturbed man. You couldn't possibly have won these two over in mere 2 days. He's no ordinary man. As we've said, he knew everything. While I was talking to him, it felt like he was looking directly into my soul. He's definitely an unusual one, yeah. It felt like he's known me my whole life, even though he just showed up out of nowhere 2 days ago. I didn't believe what he was saying at first. But he knew things he couldn't possibly know. My secret wish, something I've never told anyone before. I don't know what kind of tricks you're playing, but now I know why I've never seen you around. If you'd been lurking around the city for longer, sticking your nose where it didn't belong, I would have taken notice sooner or later. Ha! I'm impressed. In only 2 days, you managed to convince the two of them to betray me and set me up. I am indeed the one in charge of this operation, so if it's the witch you're after, I am the obvious target, yes. And the 2 dogs there surely have some pent-up rage. So I take it you're going to tie me up, then torture me until I tell you what you want to know. I mean, that's what the swordsman would want. As I say that, that's not a bad idea. What do you say? Give me the word and he's in ropes. Wait. We agreed we weren't getting rough. I have no interest in solving this problem with violence. We're here to uncover the truth. We needn't exchange blows, only words. Anyway, if we were going to beat it out of him, we would have done it as soon as he walked through the door. We discussed this beforehand. We're only talking. No one's getting into any fights, physically or verbally. That's right. Well, it looks like I've got no way out, so you've got me. I surrender. Take my key. Go open the tower doors. What? That was easier than expected. Your key is not important right now. Your perspective is what I seek. He really doesn't want to talk about it. He's just like, I'll give you the key if it means I don't have to talk about my past. Why did you make it so the lock required 3 keys? 1 person is more than adequate for the job. So why split it 3 ways? Is that any of your concern, cur? Was it because it was too much weight to bear alone? You didn't actually want to imprison Morgana, did you? Oh, I'm wondering if, like, is he working, like, is he... I know he's the Lord, but is he working for someone, or is, like, someone telling him to do this? The old Lord, I'm guessing. Something, somewhere went wrong. You backed yourself into a corner, and you couldn't escape. I'm done listening to you. Am I right, or am I wrong, Lord? Or should I say, Jacapo? Jacapo? But isn't his name... I mean, when you look at him, he doesn't look... He's kind of... He doesn't look of this... what's the word I'm thinking of? Not era. Era's not the... Like, of this land. Like, his facial features are different from everybody else's. Like, everybody else has kind of, like, the more, like, European, like, paler with, like, you know, lighter skin, lighter hair, lighter eyes, and he looks different, so... Just like Jacopo was when he came to America. Jean-Francois Barnier? That's Lord Barnier to you, you insolent child. You seem to be a bit confused. I am a son of House of Barnier, which means I'm royalty. No, you're not. I don't know how you came to start calling yourself Barnier, but there's not a drop of royal blood flowing through your veins. Oh, he's an imposter. The slave revolt at the Lord's Manor 7 years ago. You were there, weren't you? Oh shit. During the revolt, you helped Morgana escape. That's right. You saved her life once. Oh, is he gonna pull out the necklace and be like, you want to give this to her? That was you. You were the slave from 7 years ago. Slave? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Me? A slave? Like, hell, a former slave could become royalty. And this is the question of, like, how? You did it, though. You went from slave to lord. Enough. I don't know who's filling that white-haired head of yours with this drivel, but I'm done listening to it. Say another word and I'll throttle you myself. Keep slandering my name. I dare you. Maria told me the slave from back then was dead. She didn't mean it literally, though. She meant he wasn't who he used to be anymore. Maria? You've been talking to her, too, and that's why she's gonna go see him. Because she was afraid if Morgana found out, it would only serve to throw her deeper into despair. The man who once saved her was now responsible for keeping her imprisoned. Do your ears not work, her? It all comes together. I said I've had enough. I need your perspective. There's more to the story. I'm certain of it. I refuse to believe you acted only for your own benefit, only to cause her pain. If you want the key so damn badly, then take it. Set the witch free. I don't give a damn. But if you say another word, I'll rip your fucking tongue out. Swordsman's like, not if I do it first. Again, the key is not what I need right now. I need your story. Are you deaf or just an imbecile? Your perspective is crucial to saving Morgana's soul. Enough. When you were a slave, you helped Morgana escape from the Lord. Silence. And you spent the next 3 years with her. Oh. Just one more fucking word, I swear to God. So how did you end up here? How did the boy from 7 years ago go from saving her to locking her up and stealing her blood? There's no excusing your actions, no. But please, I need you to tell me how you got to this point. Enough! Michel. The next thing I see is a dagger in his hand, pointed at me. I reflexively try to push myself out of the path of his charge with my dominant hand, which sends a jolt of excruciating pain up my right arm. I'll rip your fucking head off. The Lord swings his arm up, and the necklace spills from my pocket. Oh, there it is, making a metallic clink as it hits the floor. When he sees it, his eyes go wide for a brief moment. Of course, I'm just as slack-jawed as him. What the hell is going on? Why? How? Why am I looking at a familiar cloud of inky black darkness? There's no one to answer my question, though. And no time to think about it either. I have to make a decision right now. Save. We're gonna do a save. The Lord dagger raised is quickly approaching. Off to the side, the cloud of darkness is expanding. Let's reach into the darkness. See what happens. I reach my hand into the darkness spreading from the necklace, and as soon as I do... What the hell is this? What's that black stuff? The blackness swells, consuming us all. No, stop. What is this? Don't make me watch this. Oh, his shouts. Okay, this is like... Is this going to be his past here? We're going to see it. His shouts fade into the distance, and my mind and body are swallowed up entirely. It's the same thing that happens whenever Giselle and I open a door. The same darkness I've gazed into again and again and again and again in that cursed mansion. That house that exists outside reality. Far, far off into the distance, I can see a gentle light, like a hole ripped out of the darkness. Green grass and colorful flowers rustling in the wind. I don't understand. Darkness. It was never present in the past. It was, I thought, a phenomenon restricted to the realm of the dead. So what is it doing here? But even my questions are in short order, swallowed up by the void. I guess maybe Jacapo's, like, I don't know, his past or his feelings are just so muddled that they're black compared to everybody else's? I don't know. Soon my body ceases to retain its former. It's like he's kept it so deep down, leaving only my consciousness to view the sights, sounds, and emotions of someone's past. I become an observer, as I have many times before. The true final door, the final door. I'm staring into a pair of ruby red eyes open wide with shock. I recall snapping at him, insulting him, but I don't remember what I said. Nor do I remember how he responded. All I know is a wave of churning blackness appeared out of nowhere. This is Jacapo's point of view, washing me away. I'm powerless, helpless, hopeless. My young mind sucked into it like a whirlpool. Young? My young mind? Oh, for Christ's sake. You've got to be kidding me. Why? For the love of God, why am I being made to look back at this part of my life? The miserable, stupid fucking romantic I once was. Oh, did he actually have like a little romance? Did he love Morgana and then he betrayed her for some reason? Why am I turning back into the boy I tried so hard to forget? Where did this absurd black smoke come from, and why can't I get out of it? If it's the white-haired man who's doing this to me, then he's not an angel or a prophet. He's the goddamn devil himself. But all my questions, my confusion, my frustration, everything that composes my present, is superseded by that darkness, wisping away into nothing. So yeah, how did he become, like, from a slave to a lord? To be blunt, the world's a small place. There's an unimaginable amount of it out there, but you only ever get to see a minuscule fraction of that. And that goes doubly so for us. The poor barely get the chance to see any of it at all. And those who are born into affluence, well, they have no idea just how small our world really is. I never yearned for the world outside what I knew. I more coveted it, a splash of spite mixed in. I wanted to claw my way up the mountain, knock all the bastards down who had never seen what it was like at the bottom. If I made it high enough, I could do anything. I would have complete freedom. That sounds like a childish fantasy to you. Well, you'd be right. It's exactly what it was. There you are. You spend so much time in the graveyard that one of these days someone's going to think you're a gravekeeper. Or maybe a grave robber. I can understand a gravekeeper, but I take offense at the suggestion I look like a grave robber. I'm praying for the souls who have no one to see them off. The girl, named Morgana, turned around to face me. Though I'd known her for some time, I'd rarely ever looked her in the eyes. Her face was almost always concealed beneath a dark hood, revealing only the tip of her nose, and sometimes her lips. Honestly, I don't get it. Why do you care so much? These are souls that have no one else to pray for them. At best, they may get a bit of lip service from a priest once or twice. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. What I don't get is why you need to pray for the dead at all. They're just bags of bones. I hope you enjoy an eternity in hell, blasphemer. Hey, that was uncalled for. I'm just joking, obviously. You take black humor to a new level. Morgana gave me a curt shrug, then turned away. She never faced anyone head-on for very long, and she had a perfectly good reason for it. It wasn't because she disliked me or anything. I don't think, anyway. About 3 years earlier, something had happened that had caused large patches of flesh to fall off her face. Supposedly, she had looked fine before, but I only knew her as she was at that time. The rest of her body was covered in wounds as well, but applying ointment to them had reduced the scarring significantly. Her face, though, showed no signs of recovering. A close friend of mine, a prostitute, said she thought it might be a psychological thing, but regardless, I continued applying the ointment to Morgana's face. Aw, he's probably the only one that she would let get that close to her. Hey, come on, don't turn away from me. I know you can hear me. I brought ointment, so let me put it on you. It's a waste of time. You don't know that. I wonder if maybe Morgana, like, once her soul is, like, cleansed, once she has the hatred leave her, maybe the scars, maybe her face, you know, it will show that, like, the stuff that's, like, tearing her apart literally, like, maybe she will be healed, both, like, you know, metaphorically, emotionally, physically. You don't know that. Your arms look much better than before. It won't be long before your face starts healing, too. The ointment isn't free. You're wasting your money. It's my money. I can use it however I please, so shut up and let me do this. You're a very obnoxious man, you know. What was that? You want me to rub it in real hard, huh? Fine. With a forlorn graveyard as their backdrop, a young man applied salve to a girl's raw, exposed flesh. It was quite possibly the least romantic sight in the world. I would have, at the very least, preferred a somewhat more pleasant location. As the thought fluttered through my mind, I let out a defeated laugh, and I could soon feel her glaring at me. Morgana could be a bit standoffish, but honestly, I didn't mind. For her, this was actually quite sociable, in fact. When I first met her, she didn't act her age at all, but now she was starting to show signs of the 12-year-old girl hidden inside. 3 years prior, when I met Morgana, she had been the victim of unspeakable abuse at the hands of the Lord. I didn't know why he had done those things to her, and I didn't ask either, because I knew doing so would only reopen old wounds. All I knew was that the Lord was so far gone as a human being as to brutally torture a 9-year-old girl. At the time, the only thing that ever seemed to come out of her mouth was the word of God. Everything she said or did was ostensibly for the benefit of others, but it felt to me more like she was acting out of some sort of sense of duty rather than genuine concern. Honorable, but ultimately hollow. Kind of like, Pauline. I much preferred this Morgana, even if she could be a bit jaded. What are you hoping to get out of repairing my face? I'm not trying to get anything, I just want you to heal up. And here I thought you were going to try and make me work at the brothel. How many times do I have to tell you I'm not going to make you a prostitute? What other reason could you have for wanting my face to get better? Because I want to see it. Isn't that enough? Just so we're clear, that wasn't me hitting on you, okay? The thought never occurred to me. She fell quiet, sitting there motionless as I rubbed ointment into her face. Her skin beneath my thumb was rough and unpleasant to the touch, and honestly rather stomach-turning. It was hard to imagine her face would ever heal. What I'd said about wanting to see her face was true, but what I wanted more than anything was for her to be able to live a relatively normal life. I hope you're prepared to be let down if I ever do heal. That possibility's just part of the fun. You have as much tact as a worm. No tact and bad taste. I'm a real winner. It's a wonder no one throttles you in your sleep. Like, she's actually acting like a human and not just some, like, mouthpiece for God. It's like she's acting like a sullen little 12-year-old girl. Being a guy, of course, I would have been pleased if she turned out pretty with her face healed. But her life was guaranteed to be easier than now, no matter what she looked like. That was what really mattered, ultimately. I could only imagine how hard it was to have your life turned completely upside down at the age of 9. Like, so, the swordsman and Mel, like, they were pretty true to how they presented themselves. You know, like, their backstory versus how they are now, but Jacapo's, like, so completely different. Granted, he is a child here, but still. This is the most surprising thing. Like, just how, I don't know, how thoughtful he is. And it's like, what turned him into what he is now? A large portion of us in the slums had our share of misfortune, but hardly any of them stacked up to what Morgana had had to bear. She had no parents. When I'd asked about her mother, she'd gotten cagey with me, so I assumed she'd been sold off. When I asked about her father, she just pointed up at the sky, which I took to mean he was dead. A young girl, no family, sent off all on her own to some strange land, somewhere along the line, ending up in the Lord's cruel grasp. Misfortune felt like an understatement, if anything. That said, it wasn't just out of pity that I gave Morgana so much of my attention. The other reason was, though, well, she'd probably go running if I told her. Hell, I wanted to hit myself over the head. I'll still be your friend, even if you turn out to be the ugliest girl in the city. You should be grateful. How is it you haven't managed to chase off everyone in your life yet? I act like a decent guy around other people. Do my best to fit in. And why are you such a dolt around me? Just doing my best to fit in. So you're saying this is my fault. Everyone could use a thorn or two. Makes it more exciting. You especially. Okay, that should be everything. Does it sting anywhere? Not particularly, no. Alright. Oh, also finish up here and get back to Maria soon. Unless you'd rather I drag you there. Why? Seriously? It's your damn birthday, that's why. And? What do you think, dimwit? She wants to celebrate. Get back there soon, okay? I'm planning to drop by too, and I think this is when they said that the raid happened, was on her birthday, and he was gonna give her that necklace. Okay? Okay. She gave a sheepish nod, which was honestly kind of cute. But of course I couldn't say that. So I shrugged my shoulders, feigning exasperation, and then turned to leave. Once, I might have offered to accompany her back to the brothel, but Morgana never seemed keen on the idea of walking anywhere with me. Maybe she was afraid of grown men after what had happened to her at the Lord's Manor. Or maybe she didn't want me to be seen with someone who looked like her. So, hey, I thought you were leaving. One day, I'll show you the world. I won't get my hopes up. Get your hopes up, damn it, I said with a soft chuckle, and then I took my leave. I had every intention of making good on that promise, and I had more than enough reason to believe I could. And then, oh, that just makes me realize when the whole thing about, like, the connection with the white-haired girl being Morgana in all the houses, so when she was his wife. Duh! Duh! I mean, I was pretty sure that's what it was implying, because you talk, like, you know, with Mel, it was Morgana was, like, the girl that he wanted to fall in love with and, you know, like, have a new life with, someone to kind of give him purpose other than his sister. And with the swordsman, I always forget his name, I apologize. She was the tether. And then, of course, in Jacapo's story, she was his wife. 3 years back, there was a slave revolt at the Lord's Manor. That's not quite accurate. Although, the fact that he said grown man, she didn't want to be seen with, like, she was afraid of grown men. And she's 12. I have to take a little bit of pause there. Like, how old is Jacapo in this? I know 9 years have passed, so he's like a young adult. But she would... Anyway, I'm gonna try not to get too much into it. Alright, not quite accurate though, because while I was partially responsible for inciting the riot, I wasn't actually a slave. Oh, the local lord was spoken of in whispers as the second coming of the great tyrant of old. The people who were constantly grumbling about how he seemed to treat the land like his own personal playground, exploiting everything and everyone on it for his own amusement. So I wonder if, like, you know, he has this hatred for the old lord, and maybe he's honest about how, like, he does want to help the city prosper and help people out. But Maria did also say, like, that gap between, like, the haves and the haves not are also growing under his rule, so... When enough stress and resentment builds up in a contained space, all it takes is a little shove from the outside to burst. And that was our plan. Me and a number of other dissatisfied citizens gathered together to pop that bubble and give the Lord a taste of how we felt about him. With the help of a slave trader, I infiltrated the Lord's Manor. Okay, interesting. I'd known slaves weren't treated well, but seeing it for myself, I thought most of the people would have been happier being born as a dog or cat, and owned by someone who actually has a heart. You know what? I've said this to people multiple times. I feel like the best thing that you can be reborn as, if not like a human with a good life, is a dog or a cat in a loving home with all your needs met, no responsibilities. That sounds pretty sweet. It was revolting, a flagrant injustice. Broadly speaking, there are two types of people who see injustice in the world. The first are those who have everything, who sit unchallenged at the top of the world, looking down on the less fortunate with pity. Or fortunate. The second are those with nothing, who wish to overthrow the entire system keeping them down. It should come as no surprise I fell into the second camp. Once I was inside, I went around the manor telling all the slaves about our plan. Most of them had long since lost the will to fight, but with enough assurance that there were people on the outside ready and waiting to help, glimmers of hope started to return to their eyes. Finding out they weren't alone, that they weren't helpless anymore, had an incredible effect on their morale. And once the slaves were convinced, the revolt began. It ended up being much larger in scale than I had imagined, and many lost their lives in the process, but the majority of them managed to escape. Naturally, the slaves couldn't stay in the city, so I directed them to people waiting outside who take them to another city or neighboring country. Wow! Like, he was actually quite selfless. I had neither the money nor the power to guarantee them a good life on the outside, but that hardly mattered to them. Everyone was sure that wherever they ended up would be better than staying, and I prayed that would be the case. It was during the revolt that I saved Morgana. I would have sent her off somewhere like all the other slaves, but she was in so dire a condition when I found her that she could hardly even move on her own. She had been sapped of all her willpower. So I brought her to the brothel where a friend of mine worked and asked her to take Morgana in. And I wonder if that's Maria, so they did have a connection, him and Maria, and she's probably, like, angry at Jacapo for what he became. Just like she was in the door, right? It's all those connections, man. Like, I just love that moment where, like, it clicks and everything kind of snaps into place. My companions and I reveled in the revolt's success. It wasn't enough of an accomplishment to have any real political implications, but we still felt like heroes. It's like he became what he was trying to fight against. Drunk on victory, we started talking about going bigger, starting a full-on revolution, and then he became the cog in the wheel. Instead of being the one to break the wheel, he became part of the machine. Once the elation passed, though, we realized there wasn't much more we could do. Like, maybe from his point of view, he's seeing it as, like, I'm working from the top and I'm trying to change things. And maybe... I want to believe that he is trying to do good, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Just his attitude is just kind of gross. Even if we did manage to start a large enough uprising to kill the Lord, we were only peasants. Not only did we not know the first thing about ruling, the other counts would never acknowledge our authority anyway. We'd pretend to be in control until the next in line showed up, and that would be the end of that. So we just ended up sitting on our thumbs, no way to do anything about our discontent. Skip forward to about a month before Morgana's birthday. One day, a middle-aged woman approached me. I'd never met her before, but she had wavy hair that reminded me a great deal of my own. Looking me straight in the eye, the woman said, "I was once a maidservant for the Barnier estate. They've done their best to keep it secret, but I had a child with the previous lord. And that child is you." Oh, damn. Okay. The revelation came completely out of the blue. According to her, I had royal blood, and if we could convince the lord of that, I would become royalty. Furthermore, she, as my alleged mother, could return to her old life at the manor. The woman urged me to take action, to meet the lord, reveal my lineage, and reclaim my rightful place at the Barnier house. Barnier? Barnier. I think that's... I would no longer be a poor peasant living in the slums. I would have a comfortable life. I obviously wasn't going to agree on the spot. Her story was so blatantly dubious, I needed some time to think on it. If she was telling the truth, though, it could transform our revelation from a dream into a reality. We wouldn't be restricted to inciting inconsequential uprisings. I could seize power legitimately and make some actual change. So I asked the woman to give me some time to consider. "Have you decided what you're going to give her?" That was the very first thing I heard when I stepped through the back door of the brothel. Maria, a short, blonde-haired prostitute and a good friend of mine, flashed me a devilish smirk. "I bought a necklace, as per your suggestion. Girls appreciate that sort of thing, don't they?" "Most do. Me, I got a taste for knives and other such pointy things. I doubt she has much interest in those, though. Sometimes I wonder if you're actually a girl." Anyone could see that Maria and I were close, but our relationship was strictly platonic. Of course, given her line of work, it was unavoidable that people thought otherwise. And honestly, it irritated me every time someone suggested we were anything more than friends. People have this annoying, short-sighted tendency to assume just because a guy and a girl are friendly, they must be intimate. It didn't matter that she was a girl. I only thought of her as a friend, and as best as I could tell, that's all she thought of me as well. Marie and I first met when we were children. Even at that age, she was already a prostitute, myself a petty thief. We were both incredibly lucky to have survived to adulthood with only ourselves to watch each other's backs. Very different from their childhoods in his door, where they were like both from pretty prestigious families. It's possible the only reason any of us maintained the willpower to survive this long was because we had each other to bitch about life to when things got bad. So, is today the day? Are you finally going to tell her how you feel? Aw, excuse me? Tell her how I what? Don't be coy. You know exactly what, and it's about time you manned up and told her. I think you've got a better chance than you think. Do I need to remind you how old she is? Oh, okay. There we go, we're bringing this up. I was thinking about the age thing. 12 as of today. Practically an adult. Ugh, creepy how back in those days that was kind of true. I was knee-deep in dick at that age. Ugh. You're comparing her to you? The longer you hold off saying something, the more difficult it becomes. Break a leg. Party's gonna be in the back, so there won't be any customers around to interfere. All right. I chewed over what Maria had said as I watched her disappear down a brothel corridor. She wasn't wrong. She wasn't overanalyzing. I did indeed have special feelings for Morgana. Women seem to have this strange, somewhat terrifying ability to read people's minds, and Maria was a prime example of that. I had never once so much as suggested to anyone I might think anything of Morgana, but Maria had somehow managed to pick up on it almost immediately. Fortunately, she didn't seem particularly bothered by the fact. Though, if anyone else were to find out, I could only imagine the looks I'd get. I mean, Morgana was 12, and I was 22! No! No! Damn! I mean, I figured he was older. I didn't think he was gonna be that old. I thought he was maybe gonna be like, I don't know, like 17, 18? Which still not cool, but, oh, no. That's almost twice as old as she is. That wasn't normal. I've never felt this way about anyone else that young either. I like how he feels the need to be like, even in his retelling of the story, he's like, I'm not a pedo though, guys, not a pedo. Any other girl Morgana's age just looked like another kid to me. So why was she different? She was covered in scars, and every other time we met, she would tell me to go to hell, but she refused to walk anywhere with me. And no matter how much ice I broke, I could never seem to get all the way through. He likes yanderes. That's what it is. Yet still, the world felt like it was just a bit of a better place when I was with her. It made me want to see her smile, no matter how grotesque her face. How would I even go about saying it, assuming I actually did? Even if your face still isn't healed in 4 years, I'll take you as my lifetime partner, Morgana. God, no, that's terrible. There has to be a better way to put it. Now I was getting stressed out, and was all thanks to Maria. This was supposed to be a day of celebration, not of fretting over stupid personal matters. Not long after I arrived at the brothel and made my way to the back room, Maria and a handful of other unoccupied girls showed up. Morgana, who was supposed to be the guest of honor, was even more reticent than usual. The prostitutes chatted amongst themselves about work in unabashedly graphic detail, trading info on which customers were good and which customers were bad, all the while Morgana looking incredibly uncomfortable. You guys think you could maybe change the subject? Like we have anything else to talk about? Making the birthday girl want to hide in a corner defeats the whole purpose, don't you think? Oh, no, don't mind me. I don't have anything I want to talk about, Morgana said, almost in a whisper, her head downturned. At least eat something, then. The cookies are barely sweetened and dry as rocks, but they're edible. Jacapo, you little bitch. You got some stones to shit-talk my cookies to my face. Stop it, Maria. Stop throwing things at me. The other girls cackled as Maria and I bickered. Hoping it might have elicited a reaction from Morgana as well, I snuck a glance over at her, but she remained expressionless. You are right about one thing, though. This is Morgana's day. So let's change the subject, Maria said with a little laugh, having hurled everything within arm's reach at me. Like I said, I don't have anything to talk about. Sure you do. You just have to look a little harder. Not saying you have to reminisce for us. It could be anything. Let's see. Here's an idea. Are there any guys you got your eyes on? I spewed my tea all over the table. There it is. Or there is. And then I started choking. What? Seriously? Holy shit. Who is it? Tell me, who's the lucky guy? God. Got blocked. Everyone fell silent. Maria gave me a sympathetic look, and I knew exactly what she wanted to say. Sorry, kid. You ain't got nothing on God. Asshole. If you're gonna dream, dream big, right? Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Pining after the all-powerful, all-knowing God. I'm with you. You bald-faced liar. The grass may be a hell of a lot greener up there, but it's a bit far, don't you think? You're better off settling for the weeds down here. Did she just imply I'm a weed? Maria looked over and gave a wide grin at the sight of me grinding my teeth, then continued. Say, the young man over... Wait, stop right there. Don't say another word. Whoopsie, me and my big mouth. I almost did your job for you. God damn it, Maria. This was not good. Like hell I was going to let her corner me into saying it here. I stole a glance at Morgana, but her gaze was locked on her knees. I couldn't see what, if any kind of reaction she was having. Morgana, what she was trying to say is that and then the raid happens. I have to go. Oh, jeez. So is that what happened? Like, so he left and then the raid happened? But then I bet he gave the necklace to Maria before he left and was like, I can't do it. I have to go to the bathroom. Sure. Morgana got up from her chair and left the room in silence. Oh, she's the one who's saying she's gotta go. No, I thought that he was pussing out and be like, I gotta go. I imagine I was making a rather flaccid expression because as soon as Morgana was gone, Maria began cackling like a madwoman. My reply was the nearest object, courtesy of my throwing arm. Loser. How hard is it to just say it? It would have been easier if you hadn't cornered me like that. You think I believe you would have done it without a little nudge? I would have, eventually. Eventually ain't gonna cut it. Now is the right time. And don't worry, me and the girls won't make fun of you for getting your rocks off to little girls. That's not the reason I like her. Besides, I would wait at least 4 years before... It doesn't mean you can't tell her now. I think it would do her wonders, really. She's, well, you know. So I think knowing someone cares about her will lighten the load a bit. When she comes back, give her the necklace and tell her how you feel. And if she turns you down, we can all have a good laugh about it. She's so supportive. What a supportive friend. Marie and a few other girls chuckled. As uncomfortable as she was making me feel, she had a point. Regardless of whether Morgana reciprocated my feelings or not, there was a good chance that just putting them out there would help in breaking down the wall she had built in her heart. And maybe, one day, I would actually be able to see her smile. I think that's how it's going to end. I think Morgana, she will forgive them. The hate will be gone. Her scars will go away. She will heal, and Jacapo will be able to see her smile. That's where I'm guessing it's going to go. I'll do it. I'll tell her. It didn't matter if I came out looking like a loser. It didn't matter if Morgana wasn't interested in me that way. What mattered was that she knew someone accepted her, regardless of her appearance or the things she had been through. And if by some chance there really was royal blood flowing through my veins, then I could make good on my promise to show her the world. And that's what he wanted to do? Didn't he want to do that in his door? He was talking about he wanted to show her all these places, but she couldn't go places because, like, she'd been locked away, right? She said that, like, her family had kept her locked away. Just like this Morgana can't see the world for other reasons. I could put an end to her life of poverty and abuse, replace it with one of comfort and wealth. That's what he wanted to do for her. Like, he wanted to make her comfortable and, like, give her things. And the door, it's so sweet. Why does he have to be 22, though? I could buy her better medicine, something that could actually heal her face. If I truly were royalty, I could do so much more for her. And instead, you locked her up and drained her blood. It makes it sound like I want to be some kind of fairy tale hero or something. But honestly, I wouldn't have minded that. If I was going to make her happy, to wipe away all her past misfortune, why couldn't I make it a little dramatic? It wasn't usually my style, but in this case, I wouldn't have objected to a storybook ending. This, though. No, this wasn't the kind of story I was hoping for. The heavy curtains separating the guest rooms had been torn to shreds, and they were splattered with blood. A man apparently caught without enough time to defend himself lay splayed out naked on a bed, his empty eyes fixed on the ceiling. The whole area reeked of blood. All I could do was stare stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered, though. The few who were still alive could make no better sense of the incomprehensible massacre than me. And suddenly, arbitrary upheaval of our world. The inexplicable, inescapable reality. Shortly after Morgana stepped out, I heard a woman scream from the front of the brothel. Next, a man shouting. At first, I assumed it was one of the customers losing his temper over something, but the tone of the scream seemed somehow off or something like that. It wasn't long before the noise had escalated to alarming levels, so I dashed toward the source of the shouting. A good dozen men, bandits, or maybe thieves, they seemed more organized, had raided the brothel. They slaughtered all the customers, stripping them of any valuables. They tied up the girls, killing any who resisted. The first thought that rose to my panicked mind was that I needed to find Morgana. I needed to get her out of here no matter what. I couldn't let her birthday turn into a tragedy. She'd already been through enough, and I had to make sure she didn't suffer any further. I had to make her life into something good. I searched and I searched, but there was no sign of Morgana anywhere, until suddenly something seemed to crash into me from behind, causing me to stagger. It took a few seconds for the pain to set in, which is when I looked down to see the tip of a blade sticking out of my gut. Blood streamed along the metal surface, and there were little bits of flesh caught on the edges. I turned around just in time to see the man holding it kick me away, and before I had time to process what was happening, I hit the floor and lost consciousness. If I were a hero, I could have suddenly eradicated all the violent intruders in the blink of an eye, saving everyone. Protected that which I wanted to protect. Not had to lose anything. But I was a mere boy. A weak boy, helpless against a few robbers. A useless boy, unable to protect anyone. When I woke up, Maria was kneeling over me, sobbing. No sign of the tough, foul-mouthed girl I knew. Aside from her, there were 2 other girls also crying, leaving only 4 survivors. Apparently, I wasn't dead. Looking down, I saw my bare stomach wrapped in blood-soaked bandages. The brothel lay in ruins, a bloody pile of torn bedding, clothes, and bodies. I made my way back to the front, and all I could do was stare stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered. Maria stood beside me, quietly rubbing her trembling arms. Where's Morgana? I couldn't find her. Why not? I'm sorry. I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find her. I'm so sorry. I wanted to say I wasn't blaming her, but I couldn't find the words. If I'd had power, I could have prevented this from happening. What kind of power would I have needed, though? The physical strength to overpower the thieves? No, I needed to think bigger. If I weren't a peasant, but someone of real influence and import, no one would dare stand up to me. No petty thieves would ever even consider a raid on me. And I would have the power to punish anyone who tried. So this is kind of where that power came in, where he's just like, if I have power, then I can protect what I care about. But I need to know how he went from that to locking Morgana away, because he had to have known that was Morgana. There's no other person that looks like Morgana. It is not a case of mistaken identity. But regardless, this would have never happened at all. I was supposed to give Morgana a good life, to show her the world. Instead, you locked her away. You did the exact opposite of what you said you were going to do, to make her smile. If only I had power. Absolute, unflinching power. If I had climbed to the top of the ladder when the chance was offered to me, this all could have been avoided. If only I had asserted my place as royalty a month earlier, as the woman who claimed to be my mother had urged me to. I wanted power. The power to keep everything I cared about safe. The power to change this damned world. The power to stop those filthy thieves. The power to keep her by my side. I wanted power. I heard about the attack on the brothel, and that you were hurt. So glad to see you're well. But a week after the raid, I went to see the woman who professed herself my mother. As you would expect of someone who had served at the old lord's manor, she was very elegant and graceful. The shack where she stayed, though, was a shabby, drab place with bare wattle and daub walls. You were concerned about my safety? Of course. Show me a mother who's not always concerned about her child's safety. Says the woman I'd never seen until a month ago. Physical distance has no bearing on a mother's love, she said with a soft smile. Age had clearly begun taking its toll on her, but I could see hints of former beauty. You had gone to speak with the Lord and revealed your lineage when I first came to see you. You would have never been in that kind of danger. There's still time. Go to the Lord's manor. Show him. I'm not really your son, am I? The woman fell silent for a moment, observing me. I could see the resemblance between us, yes, and I had no memories of my mother. It would be nice if she were to show back up someday, but it just wasn't likely. This whole thing felt extremely contrived. Discussions will progress much smoother if we both know what the other wants out of this arrangement. Start by telling me who you really are. Were you actually a maidservant for the previous lord? She gave a nod and walked over to a grimy shelf and retrieved a ring that looked very much out of place. It was made of gold, engraved with an elaborate insignia. Look at this. It's the Barnier family crest. The previous lord gave me the ring as a gift, and I've kept it ever since, even after our relationship was discovered and I was chased out. I didn't sell it, because I knew I was with child. They'll have no choice but to acknowledge you as a legitimate heir if you show them this ring. Why did you wait so long to come find me, then? I was afraid they might kill you if I brought you in as a baby. Why were we separated? Misfortune. One day bandits came and kidnapped you. Presumably, they were hired by the Barnier estate because they didn't want your existence coming to light. I consider it a miracle you're still alive. I can only imagine the stern look on my face as I listened to the woman speak. Part of me did indeed want to take everything she said as true. Wanted to believe I was someone important. But I couldn't convince myself I had anything other than a commoner's blood running through my veins. It would appear you've done your research. I don't have any other family to the best of my knowledge, which does indeed make me a good candidate for you to step in and claim your stake on. If I were to guess, your child with the Lord has either passed away or never existed at all. It's probably true you worked at the Barnier's manor, and it's probably true you had relations with the former lord. You were chased out, and now you live in poverty. You want to go back to your former, more comfortable life, and while you're at it, take vengeance on the current lord. But being a woman, you have no means to accomplish that yourself, so you came up with the idea of using a fake son. If your child were still alive, he would be right about my age, wouldn't he? And we look similar enough for you to convincingly claim we're related. But the biggest reason you chose me is because I've made something of a name for myself. Because I was one of the people involved in inciting the revolt 3 years ago. Perfect choice to spearhead a revolution. How dramatic. The man who set the Lord's slaves free was secretly his family. The people would eat it right up. So, how far off am I? For some time the woman sat in silence. Eventually she broke it. Not by yelling in anger or desperately trying to refute me, but with a smile. I knew very well what lurked behind that smile, too. Scorn. You're sharp for a filthy peasant. It would seem I chose wisely. I was right. She was a manipulative, conniving shyster. But that I could work with. That fits so much better. I wasn't royalty. I wasn't a hero. I was a filthy peasant. I'm in. First thing I did after agreeing to work with a woman was not to approach the Lord, but to reveal my false lineage to my accomplices. They all thought I was joking, until I showed them the ring. Then, their dreams of revolution started seeming far more realistic. Maria was the one exception. Not only did she not believe me, she tried to stop me from going through with the scheme. Haven't you had enough danger for one life? Come on, forget about all this revolution stuff. We can build up the new brothel and just stay low for the rest of our lives. Does that really sound so bad? You're the only friend I've got left, Jacapo, she said, somewhat desperately. I sympathized with her concerns, but I didn't want to let this chance to gain some real power slip away. I was done having things taken away from me. Hear me, my fellow citizens, who live in suffering at the hands of your supposed lord. Within me flows the blood of the previous lord. I am the rightful heir. Behold, the Barnier's golden ring, proof that I am of noble birth. Victims of this terrible tyrant, time has come to start anew, and I shall be the one to lead you down that path. Like, maybe he got corrupted by power. Whether he truly believes he's doing good with the church and with, you know, the blood, helping the city, maybe he sees it as like a, you know, the greater good thing, even if it means betraying the girl that he loves. Or if he got corrupted by power, I guess we'll see. The poor, the hungry, the deprived, all of you, stand with me. My call to arms stoked the flames in people's hearts. When the assault on the Lord's Manor began, they were an inferno of righteous justice. No one was thinking straight. I was about the only one with something resembling a clear head amidst the chaos. If I were really a hero, then I would have rejoiced in that glorious day, that momentous turning point in the city's history. I would have been honored to have led the charge, but this was all about one woman's avarice and desire for revenge. This was all about one man's lamentation of his own weakness. I wasn't motivated by any desire to help these people. The Lord, backed into a corner, begged for his life. I decapitated him, then held his severed head up for the people. Their cheers and shouts filled the air. As I watched them rejoice, I wondered, was this the future that awaited me? Would the people come after me next? Was my head going to be in one of their hands one day? That's why he's so, distrustful of people, is he's afraid he's going to lose that power. The king and the other counts acknowledged my royalty, though it was less because I had the Barney's ring, and more because they thought it was the best way to prevent things from getting any messier. So with their approval, I formally became the Lord of the land. I also assumed the former Lord's name, because despite his reputation with his people, it was a name people knew, and one that held far more clout than my own. And just like that, my long-time dream of power had come true. That said, simply becoming the Lord didn't mean everything had fallen neatly into place. Many of the local noble families accused me of acquiring my rank illegitimately. They waited fangs bared for me to slip up. They even tried to set me up on more than one occasion. I couldn't trust anyone. Yep, there's the distrust. On top of that, if I took too long making the improvements I had promised the people, they would start saying I was just as much of a tyrant as the previous lord. There was only so much I could do at once, though, especially with my hands so full fending off the vulturous nobles. So he saw Morgana as, the way to legitimize himself and to prevent himself from being, taken down. Exhaustion soon began to set in. This wasn't the world I was looking for, the one I wanted to show Morgana. It was day after draining day of betrayal, constantly having to look over my shoulder, fighting to meet unrealistic expectations. I was starting to lose sight of who I was as a person. I couldn't let anyone see me looking weak. They would see it as an opportunity to take advantage of me, to manipulate me, to eliminate me. I needed power to protect myself from those people. Attaining rank was only the first step. I needed even more power, enough to ensure no one would ever be giving me orders, could ever play me for a fool. I turned my attention first to bolstering the economy. I provided subsidies to merchants in the city. I expanded trade routes. I made it known that people of any skin color, even those not welcome in other territories, were welcome in my land, trying to bring some vitality to the city. The previous lord had evidently loved to throw parties, squandering away nearly all the tax money on his own entertainment. He had left me more to work with. I would have used it to clean up and repair the slums. But for the time being, that had to remain another item on the checklist. So it's similar to the previous two men and their stories, where it's Well, maybe more so Mel than the swordsman. I guess the swordsman too, where it's like on the outside they're doing things for one reason, and it seems like it's for a selfless reason. In the swordsman, it's the like bringing things to the church to help Pauline, but it's more to help himself. And same with Mel, where it seems like he's helping his sister to be, you know, a good person, but he's also kind of being selfish about it. So it seems to be the case where it's like you can do a good thing and have it, you know, do good in the world, but also kind of for selfish reasons as well. That's what I'm trying to say. I needed more money flowing through the city as a whole before I could make any headway on fixing up the poor areas. I feel like he does genuinely want to help at least the people that, you know, he used to run around with as well. But, you know, his good intentions kind of got tainted a bit. Helping the people who needed it most quickly became a secondary objective. I had a pretty good idea of what my former accomplices still in the slums were saying about me. He used us. I could practically hear them whispering. Some of them even started publicly slandering me in an attempt to undermine my authority, claiming I wasn't suited to be in a position of power because I'd spent most of my life in the slums. It wasn't long before they'd convinced the people I was just another tyrant. I had hoped that they, if no one else, would have sympathized with my position, realized that I had every intention of helping them, and that I simply didn't have the resources for it yet. But no one saw what I was doing. No one believed me, even when I tried to explain. In one case, I invited an old companion to my manor to discuss matters, but the meeting only turned into an attempt on my life, so he can't even trust the people he used to hang out with, people he considered friends, so I can see why he's so guarded with people. Having absolutely no one I could trust, no one I could call an ally, hit me a lot harder than I had expected. It twisted my worldview beyond recognition. I had no need for sympathy. I couldn't show care for anyone, otherwise someone would inevitably use it against me. Old friends and strangers alike. In fact, those who knew me best, those who were aware of where I'd come from and what I had been before, were the ones who fought the hardest to tear me down. Rules needed to be created, punishments established. I couldn't allow anyone to take this power from me. Anyone who so much as suggested I'd come from the slums, anyone who dared disrespect me, had to be eliminated. That's why he acted so strongly when Michel started to, you know, call him Jacapo and imply that, like, you know, he was a slave. All threats exterminated before they could reach me. Somewhere along the line, I had lost sight of my original dream, lost all my desire to do right by the people I cared about. Hell, I didn't have anyone to do right by anymore. Why did I need to climb to the top of the ladder? So no one could kill me. Why did I want money? So no one could mock me. Why did I want power? So no one could oppose me. 4 years passed, and I found myself in a very, very distant place. Miracle blood sounds like a sham to me. You never know. They say the sound of her first cry brought rain to the land where she was born, saving the whole village from drought. And they say her blood has the power to cure any disease. One day, a curious rumor came to my attention, the kind of whispering I wouldn't usually put much stock into. It was said there was a witch living in a cottage by the lake. Few had ever seen her face, but they claimed she had the same voice as a girl who had supposedly performed miracles several years earlier in a faraway village. The people loved their stories of heroes and miracles, and if I could show some support for the churches, then maybe people would stop complaining I was focusing too much on the economy. So I devised a plot to capture the witch and make use of her miracle blood. I would establish a new church, have it be run by a nun the city had been fawning over for some time. They called her the Saintess. There, I would take the witch's blood and call it a miracle medicine, distributing it in exchange for tithes, which the people would certainly come for in droves. And if the blood somehow did happen to have special powers, then it would make the scheme that much more effective. I'll worry about the veracity of the rumors later. Right now, all I want is for you to capture her and bring her to me. He has to have no idea, right? About, like, that's Morgana. He probably doesn't realize it until, like, he literally sees her be brought to him. Like, what a small world that all of these characters are interconnected like this. I was too busy to handle capturing the witch myself, so I went and found someone to handle it for me. He was a former slave who had, several years back, massacred an entire carriage of slaves and the slave traders transporting them. Obviously not an upstanding citizen, but there was little doubt he would have any trouble apprehending a single witch. The biggest reason I chose him, though, was because he was enamored with a nun. I honestly thought it was rather hilarious. A murderer falling in love with a nun. I had been expecting the man to object, but he agreed almost without hesitation. There was a mansion on the outskirts of the city, which the previous lord had built for himself and had gone unused since his death. It was there I decided to keep the witch, and it was there I decided to establish the church. The nun would have ample space there to provide temporary shelter to the sick and needy. I thought, with what little remained of my conscience, that I was doing the right thing. If one witch, probably an old woman at that, oh, if only you knew, I mean he will know soon enough, was all it cost to accomplish such good, then a worthy sacrifice it was. In an ideal world, it wouldn't matter young or old. A human being was an unacceptable price for anything. But this was far from an ideal world, so I decided that taking what little remained of this woman's life was the best, no, the only acceptable course of action. She would probably despise me for it, but I would gladly accept her hatred in exchange for the benefits her blood would bring the city. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. Morgana's words from years back popped in my head, and just the irony of the fact that he's using her words to justify what he's doing, and he's going to be harming Morgana. But maybe in a way he'll be like, but this is what she would want. She would want to help the sick and needy. So I'm doing that through her. It's kind of fucked up, but I could see him justifying it that way. I believed that, as aggressive, self-centered, and utterly lacking in compassion as my methods may have been, I was following that mantra. I was offering a helping hand to people who needed it in the only way I knew how. I wasn't so dense to think she would approve of me making an old woman pay the price for my charity, though. Doing this made me no better than a thug. But everything has a price. For every extravagant feast held, a dozen people go the night without food. That's simply the way of the world. I was no god. I was no saint. I had blood on my hands. I was a villain. I knew no way to accomplish good without doing bad. After the swordsman departed, I took some time to myself. I filled a goblet with water, smelled it, then gave a bit of it to my pet dog before gulping down the rest of it. Oh, is that his way of being like he's testing to see if it's been poisoned, so he's giving some to his dog to be like, will the dog get sick off it? Yeah, he's real paranoid. Are you still out there somewhere, Morgana? What would you think of me if you saw what I had become? I mean, she'll see soon enough. Several days later than originally planned, the swordsman finally arrived at the mansion. I had chosen the observation tower on the grounds for the witch's prison, and it was there I waited for him. He showed up with a burlap sack swung over his shoulder, setting it down on the ground and saying, "There's your witch." I could only hear muffled grunting from inside the sack, but it didn't sound like an old woman inside. The man's clothes and the bag both reeked of blood. Tell me you didn't harm her, dog. I smell blood. You only instructed me not to kill her. Mistakes were made. Limbs were lost. I cleaned up all the blood I got on me. No one suspected anything. That you were able to immediately recognize it as the smell of blood says quite a bit, Lord. You have killed before, haven't you? Oh no, it's not because he's killed, it's because it's like from the massacre at the brothel. Enough yapping. She is alive, yes? Of course. I felt a tinge of guilt for the woman, but it didn't last long. Her role in my scheme, and the fate that awaited her, was the same regardless of the condition she arrived in. I tossed my gaze from the man to the bag. He crouched down to untie it, revealing a young girl with one arm severed. As soon as I saw her, I knew exactly who the girl was. But why? What was she doing in the bag? Why was she the lakeside witch? What was she doing here? Why was she so pale and shaking? Why had I ordered her captured? How could I have done that? How could I have let this happen to her? Morgana. My voice was hoarse and rattling. She looked up at me, her face just as disfigured and hideous as it had been 4 years before. My mind flashed back to her birthday, to when I had considered offering to take her as my lifetime partner if her face hadn't healed in 4 years' time. Is that you? Like, the odds of it happening... Is this 4 years? It's 3 or 4 years later, right? Her question yanked me out of my memories. You remember me? Did Morgana remember me? The 3 years we had spent together, the kind of person I had been, the boy who had refused to give up putting ointment on her face, those horribly unromantic encounters at the graveyard, her taking shots at me taking shots at her, all that time we shared. How could I ever forget? Morgana, she remembered me? How could I ever forget all the pain and humiliation you put me through? What? How could I ever forget the blood sabbats you so loved to hold? Wait. What? What was she talking about? That's the old lord, right? That wasn't him. Haven't had enough, have you? Leaving scars on every inch of my body wasn't enough for you? You haven't had your fill of my blood? No, that wasn't me. I was the one who tried to heal those wounds. I mean, it's been some time, but, like, the fact that she would get them mixed up, I imagine the other lord is, like, an older guy and looks very different from him. She must just be out of her mind. I mean, she's probably just out of her mind with, like, trauma, and also, you know, she did just get her arm cut off, so she's just probably not thinking straight. You're the man who bound me, cut me up, called me a witch, and then tried to kill me. I haven't forgotten you, even for a moment. No, Morgana, I was the man who rescued you from him. I don't care how much my father preaches forgiveness. That is the one thing you'll never get from me. I despise you with all my soul. I revile you with every fiber of my being. For every scar you gave me, I give you a lifetime of hatred. No, Morgana. I was not aware you knew the witch, Lord. His voice made my blood run cold. I didn't just know her. Morgana was... this man, the Lord. He destroyed me, mind and body. Maybe she just heard, like, Lord, and she's just, like, assumes it's him? No, that was another man. He was already dead. I had just taken his place. I had come from the slums. I had been part of the slaves' revolt. I knew I had to tell her. He ruined my life, but between the sting of Morgana's accusations and my need to protect my current position, I couldn't muster the strength to do it. If someone were to find out I wasn't legitimate royalty, that I had come from the slums, then everything I worked so hard to build up for who, though, would come crumbling down. Do I really think it hasn't already? All I had left was my power, my rank. Didn't he want to do this for her? Like, he said he wanted to, like, show her the world or something if he had power, and now he's... the irony of him, like, locking her up instead. Is that what I really actually wanted? I couldn't afford to lose that, too. When did I first start straying from the path? Yes, I know her. Or, I knew her years ago. I see. What do you want to do then, Lord? You look sick. This doesn't change anything. We lock the witch up and proceed as planned. Damn. Why? Why couldn't I tell her the truth? How? How could I keep her imprisoned? What? What had I wanted power for in the first place? Would anyone ever believe me if I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? Would anyone ever believe me? Before me floats a man twisted and writhing in pain, although whether what I'm looking at could be said to resemble a human is a difficult question. It's a hazy, indistinct shape, on the precipice of being consumed by darkness everlasting. I know very well what I'm looking at. The moments before a man's soul shatters. Okay, this has got to be Michel again. Did I do the same thing to him that Morgana did to me? Was it I who summoned the darkness? Who laid his past bare? Who forced him to relive those events? To experience once more everything he felt, everything he thought? Who put him through that despair a second time? I can only imagine how he must have felt, causing someone he once cared for so much pain. Like, there's the connections are so, like, the fact that he caused someone he loved pain, desperately trying to, like, keep his past from other people, learning about it. Just like Michel's connection to all of these other guys, they have, like, their own similarities. The things he did are abhorrent, more than deserving of reproach, and it would undoubtedly be easier for him to simply vanish into the eternal abyss. But I can't allow that to happen. He still has work to do. His story is essential. It's almost certain Morgana still doesn't know who he really is. He needs to face her, to reveal the truth with his own words. That's the only way we're going to get her to have a change of heart. That's not all he has to say to her either, so I must bring him back, pull him out of the darkness. I grab the man by the arm and begin scouring the blackness for an exit. After some time, I see a speck glistening high above, so I make my way upwards, back into the harsh light of the real world. The darkness parts, and we re-emerge in the dining hall. The man is still straddling me, dagger held above his head, just as he had before our trek into his past. His eyes are open wide, and his hand is trembling. A few moments later, his fingers go slack, and the blade slips from his grasp, piercing the wood floor by my face. Hey, what was that? I swear I saw some kind of black cloud or something. What happened to you two? Neither of you saw any of that? Saw what? If you didn't see anything, then don't worry about it. The necklace. That must have been the key to unlocking his memories. Like when I touched the mirror in the mansion. I have no idea why certain objects show me different memories, but I got what I needed, I think. I'm fairly certain the white-haired girl is Morgana now. The things Jacapo did to her and felt for her behind the third door have much in common with him and Morgana in this life. Why did you dig that up? How the hell did you do that? Why did you show me my former self? Why did you make me watch that? Why didn't you tell her? And you only opened your mouth and told Morgana the truth. Told her you weren't the previous lord. Told her who you really were. I don't know, I feel like that would make things worse because then she'd be betrayed by someone she considered a friend, rather than someone who didn't see her as, like, a human. I feel like it would cut that much deeper, like with Jacapo when the people that he was close to ended up trying to kill him and betray him and turned against him, like it hurts that much more. Things could have turned out differently. Turned out differently how? Knowing would have only worsened her pain. Yes, you're exactly right. The man who once saved her life is now the source of all her misery, right? Like I feel like that would be worse. How would knowing that do anything but cause her more despair? The least you could have done then was let her go free. I had already put money into setting up the church here. Her arm had been cut off. There was no turning back. You can't go back from that. You could have, yes. You could have stopped then and there. Don't act like you know anything. You couldn't possibly comprehend the weight on my shoulders, you dirty peasant. You're right, I can't, and I'll be damned if I want to. To hell with understanding the feelings of a man who could so easily lose sight of what mattered most for a little power. Gugh. Money, power, that's not what you really wanted to hold dear. So why couldn't you let go of that? Why did you have to go and let what mattered most slip through your fingers? Had you done anything, it wouldn't have had to come to this. Ugh. I couldn't have people knowing where I came from. I needed wealth? Rank? No, you didn't need any of that. Do you have any idea how much Morgana treasured her time with you and Maria? Do you know how she described that period? It's one of the brightest chapters of her life. Those 3 years she spent at the brothel until it was attacked. She said that was where she learned how to find joy in life. Enough. She would never say any of that. Why do you refuse to believe me? She never opened up to anyone. That's all just your fantasy. What you want to see in her. You're trying to convince me of something that was never there. I think he just doesn't want to, it would make him feel more guilty if he knew that, like, she actually were close with them, or she felt like they were her friends, because it just makes the betrayal that much worse. No, I think he's right, Lord. I believe she did feel that way. The day I killed that carriage full of slaves 4 years ago. This girl you're talking about, she was there. What? That can't. And she said this to me before I began my massacre. I'm sad because I didn't get the chance to show my gratitude to people very dear to me. She was crying as she did. So that's who she was talking about. It was you. There's no way. When exactly did the brothel attack 4 years ago take place? It was the winter. I see. Winter 4 years ago is when I met the girl too. That reminds me. She mentioned something unpleasant happening to her 4 years ago during one of our conversations. That she was forced to part ways with the people who taught her that humans are capable of kindness. She was talking about you. And there's the realization. There's still time. You can still set Morgana free. You can still reveal your true self to her. She was likely in shock that day, not seeing or thinking straight. She still thinks you're someone else. Exactly, yeah. I can imagine why she would be in shock. Hearing you were the Lord, it set something off inside her, preventing her from seeing who you really were. Her time in the previous Lord's captivity left scars even deeper than she knew. So all it took was that one word. And in her eyes, you became him. Which isn't to say you haven't caused her much pain yourself, but I still believe your truth is the key to allaying her hatred. It will change her perception of the world. I'm certain of it. So please, release Morgana and spill your heart for her. I was planning to end it all with a harvest festival. Wait, end it all? How? What? That sounds so, like, morbid. What? I was already planning to set her free, then. Oh. I knew damn well it was too much. It was much too little too late. But I needed an excuse to face her. Some occasion to give me that last nudge. So I told myself, that was going to be the day. That's when I'm going to do it. But you had to show up out of nowhere, digging up my past. Throwing all my plans out the window. You still think I'm the reason your carefully laid plans fell apart? I'll let her go during the Harvest Festival. That's gonna be too late. Tomorrow she goes free. Tomorrow is too late. What difference does it make? When the bell tolls noon on the day of the Harvest Festival, Morgana dies. I've had more than enough of your so-called prophecies. I'm done. Why do you still refuse to believe me? I'm not making anything up. I'm from the future. I know how this ends. I mean, after everything that you've experienced, you're still not going to believe him? Having an occasion and a plan can certainly make it easier to take action, but you can't just wait for the right occasion for everything. Sometimes, if you don't act on something as soon as you've decided to do it, you'll miss your chance. In your next life, you make the same mistakes. You lock someone up that you care about, eventually causing her to break down entirely. And you're so fixated on waiting for the right occasion, you completely destroy any chance of salvaging anything. I didn't make that connection, all the other stuff about his door and this, but I didn't think about the fact that he locks her away in a room. And then she just eventually goes insane. Huh. The parallels. It makes me want to go back and just read the chapters again. If you're set on releasing her, then release her. Jacapo. Stop being so damned fixated on your occasions already. Enough. Damn you. You're right. You don't have to tell me I'm being a fool. I'll do it. Right now, I'll do it. I'll release her. It feels like it's coming. This feels like this is the precipice. This is the ending. I don't know how much is left, but it feels like we're coming to the climax here. Thank you for making up your mind. I didn't make the lock require 3 keys because the weight was too much to bear alone. It was because having others with me would force me to keep up the Lord facade, to prevent me from letting anything slip. Or maybe I was just waiting, hoping someone would betray me, make me pay. Pathetic, I know. You can have the necklace. It belongs to you, though I doubt Morgana will accept it. I hope you'll still attempt to give it to her yourself. Will you do that? Where did you get that, anyway? From Maria. I thought she would have thrown it out by now. I assume she doesn't think very highly of me? Well, yeah, it's one way of putting it. Be honest with me. She was planning to kill you. Ah, maybe that would have been for the best. To her, I'm nothing but a power-hungry traitor. The necklace. I'll take it. Here you are. When he takes the necklace, Jacapo looks as though he's on the verge of tears. Whether from the pressure of not wanting to lose face, or simply because he's no longer able to, he doesn't actually shed any, though. The other two just stand and watch him quietly. Neither of them saw the vision of his past, but they don't pry either. Our exchange was probably sufficient to give them an idea of what happened, even if they don't know the details. Clutching the necklace in one hand, Jacapo takes up the head of the procession to the observation tower. And while it lasts for but a brief moment, I see an image of the young man he used to be in his slightly slouched shoulders. They each insert in turn their individual keys, the lock disengaging and the door giving a deep groan as it swings open. Beyond it, a spiral staircase extends high into the sky, a staircase we know all too well. Every time I've climbed these stairs, it's always been a solemn affair, and now is no different. I've succeeded, though. I've got them all here, ready to set her free before she's supposed to die. I've changed the past. Why do I have a feeling like it's not going to go the way that we think it's going to go? Giselle. Can you hear me, Giselle? I made it in time. Now Morgana doesn't have to die tomorrow. I did it. Giselle. With me. Come on. Do you guys hear talking behind the door? Oh, maybe Giselle's with Morgana. Maybe that's where she went. Is there someone else in there with her? There couldn't be. It's only Morgana. Stay with me, please. That's gotta be Giselle. Come on, you can't give up now. Oh, be quiet. As if you have any idea what I'm going through. Of course I do. No. Standing before the door at the top of the stairs, a chill runs down my spine. Before I have time to consider what might have caused it, my body moves on its own. I shove my way past the other men and push open the door. What is it? What is it? I know I'll come up with something pleasant to take your mind off things. I'll come up with a story. Oh wait, she's talking to herself? A story? I mean, you've been locked up in a tower like this. You would go mad. How about this? A dove flies in through the window up above, a piece of parchment tied to its leg. It's a letter from the prince of the neighboring land. You read it, and then you write a response. I don't respond. After exchanging letters back and forth for some time, the prince comes to find you. I am not going to fall for your stupid fantasies. Holding on to something, even a fantasy, is better than believing in nothing at all. I don't want you to give up hope. Baseless hope only breeds despair. Not that you would know that. Besides, if anyone's going to come for me, I don't want it to be a prince. There's only one person I want to see. Oh, is it Jacapo? Maybe all this time she's held on to hope that he'd come and help her. Hopefully he'll get through to her and hopefully she'll realize who he is. But like he said, I feel like knowing that he was the one who did this to her would just be even more of a betrayal and cause even more despair. We're all stunned to silence at the scene unfolding beyond the door. Morgana is having a conversation with herself. This does answer the question of who the white-haired girl is and where she came from. Oh, so this is where the white-haired girl like has split from Morgana, and that's why she talked about like the story about the prince, and that's why it shows up in that fanciful, like the sanitized version of what actually happened with Morgana. But I can't. This is just... No one should have to go through this. Her mind has split into two. Oh, Morgana, it looks like you have visitors. They're here to take my blood. Or they've got no use for me anymore, and are here to kill me. Oh, don't be so negative. Look, there's someone new. Kill me. Just set me free already. Morgana, you know what my wish is. Kill me and curse. Put a curse on them. Come on, Morgana, look up at them. Your letters, they made it. I never wrote never wrote any letters. He's got long hair as white as snow, and eyes like rubies. He's beautiful, like an angel descended from heaven. An angel. Morgana, I've come for you, Morgana. Come to set you free. Would you please undo her shackles, Jacapo? As you say, she's probably too far gone to even notice that Michel said Jacapo's name. Oh boy. This is very symbolic. It's like it is like an angel come to, you know, bless her, maybe take her away. And she's got the butterfly clip too. The butterflies are always associated with witches, aren't they? Morgana. Angel? Can you hear me, Morgana? At long last, I have the chance to hold you while you're still alive. I'm here to get you out of this tower. You have nothing to worry about anymore. You can go outside again, see the sun. You can go back to your old life. Angel. Morgana. Angel. No one's going to hurt you anymore, Morgana. And the three of them by the door, none of them had any malice for you. Angel. You're free. You can go free again. Angel. You can have a normal life. No one's going to take any more of your blood. Angel. Please, Morgana. Please stay with me. Don't you want to leave this place? I'm going to set you free. I'll take you back to your cottage by the lake. I'll get you medicine. I'll help you with anything you need. If you want to go somewhere far away, I'll take you there. I'm begging you. I've waited so long for this moment. Morgana, she probably thinks it's an angel come to, like, you know, free her from this mortal coil. Like, I don't think she wants to go back to the cottage. I think she just wants to die. I've been waiting so long for God to send an angel. Are you an angel? Are you an angel sent to deliver me from this place? Please deliver me unto my father's presence. Oh, that's the one she wants to see. It's not Jacapo. It's God. God blocked again. Sorry, Jacapo. I can't go back out there. I can't live in the mortal realm any longer. I don't want to. There's only one place I wish to go. Oh, holy servant of the Lord. You are an angel, aren't you? Ooh, can I make a choice to say whether I'm an angel or not? Morgana, please deliver me from this place. Do I have the, like, choice right now? Can I, like, try and save her or let her die? Maybe? Maybe? Oh, no. Okay, never mind. I thought there was a choice happening there. That's right. I am. For now, yes, I will be. I'm the Archangel Michel. It's spelled like Michael, but I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Sent to deliver your soul unto God, the Father. Your angel. I have descended from heaven above. That's wonderful. Morgana. Is he proud of me? Your Father, the Lord Almighty, is exceedingly proud of the great work you've done in his name. Thank you. It means so much to me to hear that. Is she gonna die? Is everything that we did, I mean, maybe she will be soothed. She'll still have the hatred in her heart for the men, but maybe she can still be at peace. At least, you know? I couldn't be happier to be able to return with you, to see him. Morgana. Morgana! Oh my gosh, did she just die? She just died! Morgana! What the fuck? Damn it, I mean, I said I had a feeling this wasn't gonna, like, go all sunshines and rainbows, but I didn't expect this. Her body goes limp in my arms as the last of her life slips away. What? Oh man, maybe I can't change the past. Hopefully, like I said, at least I gave her some peace, but like, what happens now? What happens to Giselle? What happens to these three guys? What happens to Michel? There should have been more than enough time to spare, but I still failed to save her life. At the very least, I hope I was able to provide her some comfort in her final moments. I'm allowed to think that, aren't I? We were too late. But why? Wasn't she supposed to die? Or wasn't she not supposed to die until... That's what you said, isn't it? That's how it was supposed to happen, right? So how come we still didn't make it? Why didn't you do anything? Why did you just let her wither away like this? Why? Answer me. I have no answer for you. I had no idea she had deteriorated so badly. We should take her outside. Then you can atone for your sins. But first, we need to take her body somewhere clean. Death does not mean you are free of pain. We need to ensure her soul can depart in peace. You won't see me objecting. Oh, that's right, because, like, when he died, he still kind of, like, hovered around his body for a while, so maybe it's not too late for them to try and, you know, I don't want to say ask for forgiveness, or, like, you know, to try and explain themselves, but kind of explain themselves and at least tell her that they're sorry for what they did. Maybe it's not too late. You need to say now what you were going to say to her. You must let her know the truth. She's dead. What good will it do to reveal my feelings now? Are you really that dense? Of course it will do good. Her physical body may be dead, but her soul is still here, watching everything. I mean, Michel knows from first-hand experience. Listening to every word you say. I don't believe in souls. Really, Jacapo, after everything that's happened, you still are gonna, like, not believe in him? Well, I'm begging you to change your mind. Let Morgana hear what you have to say. Don't let her soul seethe in hatred. Please, I'm begging you. Okay, Morgana, I am not the lord you knew, the man who put you through that hell. I killed him. I am the man who freed you from his grasp. I'm the man who spent the next 3 years with you. We were poor and food was scarce, let alone good food. But those were happy times. Just about every day I would come to rub ointment on your face. I'd tell you to look at me, and you'd reluctantly turn my way. I used to think a lot about the face you'd make when you finally gave in. And then there was Maria. I can only imagine how obnoxious you thought the two of us were when we were in the same room together. You sitting off alone while me and Maria go at it, not making a peep. Me always trying to sneak glances at you. There's so much I never managed to tell you. And I hate myself for being too weak to put any of it into words. I could apologize, but I doubt you'd forgive me. And I don't want you to, either. I just want you to know that this isn't how I wanted things to turn out. What I wanted more than anything was to show you the world. But instead, all I managed to show you was the inside of a cold, dark tower. Not the beautiful, unimaginably wide world outside these walls, but a tiny, filthy corner of it. I did this to you. I took everything from you, when I should have given you everything. However much you hate me, I deserve every last bit of it and more. I was ready to pay with my life if that's what you wanted. I was ready to do absolutely anything. This wasn't how I wanted things to turn out. I waited too long to bring myself to take action. Morgana, the man there, he told me you said the 3 years we were the 3 years that you were with me and Maria were the brightest days of your life. Well, they were for me too. I loved you. That's everything. Did any of what he just said make it through to you, Morgana? I pray with all my heart that him opening up will have even the tiniest effect on how you feel. Morgana, I also want to apologize for everything I did to hurt you. I feel terrible about it, I really do. And yeah, I know that's not enough to make up for what I've done, so I want to make amends, whatever it takes. You want me to give you my life now, I will. Or if you want me to spend the rest of my days paying for my sins, I can do that too. Swordsman, man, a few words. I am an irredeemable monster and a killer. I take pleasure in hurting people. You were right to be afraid of me. I am genuinely sorry for what I did to you. I never wanted to see you dead. I'm sorry I can't come up with anything better to say. Let's bring her outside. Would you carry her body, please? You should be the one to carry her. You're far better suited to the job. My right arm is in no condition to be picking anything up. Yeah, because of a certain someone. I'll help you lift her then. You said it was my words she needed to hear most, but ultimately, it was you who saved her. And me who made that necessary. She wanted to be delivered to God by the hands of an angel. So the angel here should carry her. I can't. It wouldn't be right. Please, would you do it for her? Very well. Jacapo put the necklace around Morgana's neck, then lifts her dead body off the ground and places her in my arms. He opens the door, heading the four-man procession out of the tower as he had in. I walk at the back of the line. Each step they take down the spiral staircase is slow and ponderous, as if weighted down by the knowledge of their sins, that they must make their way to the place they will make for their atonement. I wasn't able to prevent Morgana's death, but I was able to uncover the truth. I accomplished something. Some of everything I did these 3 days should be enough to change her heart. I hope so. It would feel so demoralizing to do all that and not have anything change the course of their next lives. They should be able to avoid the tragedies I witnessed through each of their doors. I guess it's like, you know, she was fated to die no matter what, and this just kind of sped things along. But, you know, hopefully the butterfly effect will take effect in a positive way. When we step through this door and people see Morgana's body, we'll be made to pay for our sins. Ultimately, I'm the one responsible, so the two of you are welcome to stay behind. I'm coming with you. A girl died because of the things I did. I can't just pretend it didn't have anything to do with me. No, I don't want to. I never had any intention of fleeing. You may have been the one running the operation, but I did just as many terrible things as you. Well then. Say, Michel. Yes. I figure this is probably my last chance to say it, so thank you for convincing me to hand over my key. For giving me the courage to open my eyes. You always had the courage within you, Mel. You simply needed a little help finding it. It wasn't my strength that allowed you to take action, but your own. You sure know how to make someone feel better about themselves. I'd like to be a little stronger next time around, if there really is a next life. I'd like to be strong enough to face whatever comes my way, to not run away or try to ignore it. I have no doubt you will be. The trials you're made to face are great, and very few of them of your own making. Yours is a tragedy of circumstance, of feelings kept secret and good intentions gone wrong. You can face the problem when it arises rather than look away. I'm certain you can find your way to a better future. You mean in my next life? I do. Yeah, this life is not going to be lasting long, I think. I'll trust you know what you're talking about then and burn your advice into my soul. Don't look away. Please do. I'm glad to have met you. If there is a next life, I'd like it if we could be friends. Michelle's like, oh, that's going a little bit too far. Just so you know, you'll never convince me to go on walks around a lake or take naps out in the sun. It's nice to see even after like such a tragic thing, there's still a little bit of levity. These two can still kind of crack some jokes. Well, that makes you sound like a very gloomy, unpleasant person to be around. Just joking. Thank you. You're welcome. You know, you kept telling me you weren't an angel, but you actually are, aren't you? I promise you, I'm a regular man. You told Morgana you were an angel. Angels and demons don't get along very well, so I'd rather not run into you in my next life. I appreciate what you did here, though. I'll do my best to be more human next time. Please do. If I repeat to myself what you told me, that what I need most is restraint as I make my departure from this world, and maybe I won't forget it, even if I do lose my memories. Burn it into my soul. I rather like that. I think I'll follow the boy's lead there. That would be best. And I'll be praying that, even if you aren't capable of love, you'll be able to live a peaceful life with a good woman who loves you. That you'll be able to make her happy by doing so. I still think she'd be better off never knowing me. Whether you want her to or not, she's almost certainly going to meet you, and fall in love with you. You know, now that I think about it, she's not as normal as I first thought. She's a peculiar woman. I can't say I disagree. Well, I guess this is a goodbye then. That it is. I know everyone else is doing it, but I got nothing to say to you. I didn't expect you would. Ha. Though I suppose I do have something I'd like to say to you. And what might that be? Be more open with yourself. If you had only put your feelings into words, things would have turned out differently in both this life and your next. Coming from you, a man who looks even more closed off than me, that rubs me very much the wrong way. I mean, yeah, Michel and Jacapo are kind of like that in some ways, but Michel eventually did open up, and things got better for him. For a little while. Do I really look that closed off? In more ways than one, yeah. That part of me is deeply ingrained. You telling me to open up won't magically disentangle my personality and make it be. I don't think you're as twisted as you believe you are. I'll consider it if this next life nonsense you're selling is true. Please do. Lord have mercy, one hell of a man certainly busted his way into my life. The last thing I expected was for an outsider to be the one to get us to open that door. Impressive work for one man. It was not only my doing, I had help from a number of people. And it was you, Giselle, who did the most in getting me here. I want Giselle and Michel to be reunited. Please let that happen. I feel like that's what we're leading up to. Hopefully we'll get a good ending. Bittersweet. I'll take bittersweet too. I just want them to be reunited, if only for a bit. I'm not as big a man as the three of you make me out to be. Before this, I'd lost so much. I felt utterly powerless. I was on the verge of abandoning all hope. But having the opportunity to meet all of you, to spend time with you and the people around you, it did a great deal to revitalize my spirit, despite the atrocities involved. So I thank you. I pray your next lives may turn out better. I suppose we should get going then, off to pay for our crimes, to relieve her soul of some of its pain, and I suppose to make sure their next lives go a little better. Let's. He places a hand on the large door, then takes a step forward. The door lets out a heavy groan, and moonlight slips through the widening crack. It's all over now. I did it. I changed the past. Alright, wow, oh wow, that has got to be probably one of my favorite episodes that I've done so far, just in terms of like everything connecting together, Jacapo's story with Morgana, and culminating with, unfortunately, not really being able to change the past in terms of like saving Morgana, her physical self anyway, but hopefully we can at least change something. We can change the fates of the three men and maybe put Morgana's soul to rest, but that was just, story-wise, absolutely amazing. So I hope you guys did like this one, and I'm really excited to see like how much more of this is left. I imagine we're coming to the end soon, so can't wait to see where the story's going to take us. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you next week for part 24. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Kiori Makoto, Revealing Storm, Jared Fan, Tequila Mockingbird, Izzy Ibo, Joel Ostman, Asborn Kennedy, Harry Gazif, Icognito, Locus Carolus, and Wusing Chrysalis.